Hello and assalamualaikum to everyone. And this is Miss Hanis. I am recording a lecture for you guys so that you guys can see this whenever you are free. And I hope you're watching this. Okay, so this is supposed to be another lecture of me that has to be delivered last Wednesday, but unfortunately things happen. So here I am recording a lecture for you guys to watch it, and hopefully it can actually complement with your lesson in chapter 5. So basically chapter 5, cellular respiration. Can you see what is this? Okay, look at this. This is mitochondria. So this is one of the main character we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay, so let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, so this is actually the top 10 for last week. Okay, biology class, not clash. Okay, biology class with Miss Hanis, week 4 actually. So these are actually the top 10. Congratulations. So you may screenshot it, pause a little bit to marvel if your name is here, but if it's not, you may try again. We still have around, this is week 5 or week 6? It's just week 5, right? So it's week 5, we still have like around 10, yes, another 13 weeks with me. Okay, that's not a long time to go. You're going to graduate soon. So without further ado, let's take a look. Oh, before that, this is our top 1 class. Look at this. We have 89.45, 90.18, which is actually not a big difference between these two classes. And this one class actually gets 71.39%. So let's take a look. Okay. So the top one for last week goes to H04B. Congratulations. H16B, you are not that behind. So yes, do a great job, and then you will show your result later on. Okay, so this is not what I want to talk about. Let's take a look at the learning outcome, shall we? So the learning outcome for today, I'm just going to talk a little bit about 5.1. Okay, since everyone has studied about glycolysis and pyruvate oxidation, we're actually going to go back a bit behind on aerobic respiration. So I want in the end of this lecture, please, I want you guys to know that why are we doing respiration? We actually want energy. Okay, we need energy. Why do we need energy? We need to eat. Okay, we need to reproduce. So all of that needs energy. When you eat, you need an energy for your digestive system to keep working. That's why you need to eat. Okay, so a lot of things actually needs energy. We will try to discuss about that later. And then you guys have to know the flow of oxidation of glucose. Okay, so the first one we have learned about glycolysis, where the glucose has actually been oxidized to produce how many pyruvate? Yes, 2 molecules of pyruvate. And then the pyruvate is actually undergoes what we call as pyruvate oxidation. Okay, pyruvate oxidation. And then only after that, it will enter Krebs cycle and oxidative phosphorylation. So you have to know about these four actually. 1, 2. I'm not sure why don't they put pyruvate oxidation over here. Okay, it used to be called as link reaction. Why link reaction if you ask me? Because it actually links between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. But we don't use that term anymore. But if you have seen that in your notes, it's actually about pyruvate oxidation. Okay, and then we will learn about Krebs cycle next week and oxidative phosphorylation. So stay tuned, and we're going to learn about 5.1 today. Look at this. Cellular respiration. What is cellular respiration? It is actually a metabolic process in cells, of course, by breaking down complex organic molecule. Okay, so what is the organic molecule we're talking about? Of course, we're talking about glucose. Okay, glucose. One of the organic molecule that we use is glucose. It can be amino acid. It can be lipid. So these are all very complex. Even though it's glucose, the monomer in carbohydrate, but it is actually very complex still for our body to take. But we need energy. That's why it says here. Okay, we need to break down from complex organic molecules into simple molecule by catabolic reaction. to produce ATP. The most important thing, we need to produce energy. Okay, so if they ask you, what is the role of respiration? I keep talking about this. We need ATP. Okay, that's why we need to convert the energy that we cannot use, which is actually glucose, to produce ATP. Avoid using to produce energy because you are a biology student studying in matriculation level. So use ATP. Yeah, and also it needs to release energy. Okay, stored in glucose. So glucose is good, but we cannot use glucose alone. That's why we need to release the energy in form of ATP from glucose. Okay, so is that clear? If that's clear, let's take a look at the cellular respiration formula. I believe some of you have learned about this. So let's take a look about glucose. So this is the chemical formula for glucose, C6H12O6. Okay, so glucose, we will break down glucose into simpler molecules. And then we need an oxygen. Okay, we really need an oxygen, and that's how we actually produce carbon dioxide, produce water, okay, ataupun water vapor, and energy. This is what we want. We want energy. Okay, so this slide has actually helped you to understand more about it. We can see it's sugar here, glucose is sugar, oxygen is oxygen, the one that we get from the atmosphere, from our air. So this is oxygen. Water, usually water vapor, and CO2, we all know, we all contribute to CO2, too hot already in Labuan. So CO2 and energy. Okay, so this is the formula. You have to remember it. If you don't know how to balance it, which you should because you learn this in chemistry, but in biology, this is the important thing. And you have to know about this. If they ask you, what is cellular respiration? Write down this as a note, but not as your final answer. Please try to fry your answer. Okay, cellular respiration is an oxidation of glucose in presence of oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. Then you get 1 mark or 2 marks already. Okay, this is for aerobic respiration. Okay, and then the next one, oops, sorry about that. The next one, I'm gonna show you what is ATP. We all know ATP is the rich energy compound, or the definition that everyone knows, the powerhouse of a cell. So ATP, it has 1 molecule of adenine, ribose, and 3 molecules of inorganic phosphate group. So in this case, it is better for me to show you the diagram. So look at this. This is ATP. Okay, this is adenine. This is phosphate, 3 group, hence the name triphosphate TP. Okay, adenine triphosphate group. And this is a ribose sugar. Okay, that's why we call this as adenosine. But if we put a phosphate, then monophosphate. Satu, mono is 1. If 2 phosphate, diphosphate. 3 phosphate, triphosphate. Okay, you have to know this is, okay, the bond is a very high energy bonds. If you remove 1 group of phosphate, you will get ADP plus phosphate group. Okay, let me just write it down real quick. ADP plus phosphate group. Okay, look at this. So whenever you hydrolyze an ATP, it actually releases energy. You get ADP, okay, ADP plus, this is the phosphate group, and you get energy as well. So why we have this? This means it's reversible. ATP can change to ADP, ADP can also change to ATP. That's what we learn in glycolysis. Okay, in investment phase, energy investment phase, the ATP is used to get ADP. But in energy payoff phase, it's actually reversible. Okay, the reverse one. ADP, okay, the ADP, we take 1 phosphate so that we can form ATP. Okay, so hopefully you guys have understood about glycolysis. So then, this is very actually to understand. Okay, in case you don't, please see me. Book a consultation. Okay, we are almost there. We are almost there because look at this. Look at me. This was me around, wait, it's 2024 this year. I think this picture was taken around, I believe, 4 to 5 years ago. Okay, some of you may know this is my best friend from Manchester. So she studied with me, Miss Aisha. Okay, so we were studying in the UK for 3 years for a degree in biology, and this is me, not exactly a flattering sight. Look at the angle, it's not good. Miss Aisha, please do better. Okay, so this is me in front of the Manchester City shop. Okay, we were actually in the stadium. Okay, the is it Etihad? Yes, it's Etihad Stadium. Okay, we went there for volunteering. So basically, when I was in the UK, I have to use this kind of currency. Okay, we all know this is GBP. Okay, G stands for, I don't remember what G stands for, but remember B is British, P is pound. What is G stands for? You guys look it out for me and then let me know. Okay, so GBP is the currency in the UK. This is what we use. Do you know? Fun fact, this 10 pounds actually like 50 ringgit, okay, in our country, and even more than that because of the inflation. Okay, so this is what we use in Malaysia. We have 50 ringgit, we have 100 ringgit. That's a lot of money. So when I went to the UK, the government, okay, the Malaysian government that has sponsored me, give me money in MYR. But can I use this money actually in the UK? No, of course no, because in the UK they have their own currency. They have British pound and we have MYR, Malaysian ringgit. So what do? We have to convert it first. Okay, that's why this Malaysian ringgit is converted to British pound. Okay, because this is the currency that we get from the government. Okay, because I'm Malaysian, like everyone. Okay, I'm Malaysian, so I get the money in Malaysian ringgit, but I need to convert it to British pound so that I can use it. Imagine me bringing this note. Okay, I want to buy a pint of milk, please. And they were like, no, you cannot use this money. This is the UK. What is this? They don't even know it. This is Malaysian cash. Okay, so that's why the same goes to our body. If we give glucose, we cannot release energy from glucose. It's too complex. Our body will be like, oh, we cannot use glucose as a source of energy. We have to convert it to something that we can actually get energy from. That is why we learn this topic. This whole topic is dedicated from sugar to ATP. Okay, the whole topic, we're going to cover this in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, we're actually going to learn about how to turn sugar into ATP. Okay, so the sugar, we take sugar, you drink chocolate milk, got sugar, ice cream, got sugar, even in rice, the starch is slowly broken down into sugar, glucose. So that is why even the sugar is considered as one of the simplest structure compared to starch, but it is actually very hard for our body to get sugar as energy. Okay, so that's why in this topic we are learning about how to convert sugar into ATP, an energy that we can actually use. Our body can actually use this, okay, as energy. Is that clear? Okay, so ATP production, you have to remember about this. Okay, ATP production, we have 3 types of ATP production on how are we going to form ATP. The first one is substrate level phosphorylation. A phosphate group is transferred directly from a phosphorylated compound to ADP to form ATP. So this is actually, okay, let me just draw a little bit so that you guys can understand. So basically from ADP, okay, ADP, remember ADP only 2 phosphate group. So from 2 phosphate group, okay, we actually want to add another phosphate. Okay, another phosphate, we add another phosphate so that we get 3 phosphate now. So this is 3 phosphate group. Okay, so this is from ADP to ATP. ATP, you add another phosphate group. Can you tell me which example can you actually find this from glycolysis? Which one? Investment phase or payoff phase? Of course lah. Of course lah. Which phase? Of course lah untuk energy payoff phase because we get ATP bah. Okay, we get ATP. So that's why if we get ATP, that is from energy pair of phase. Okay, because you get ATP already. So how do we do that? We actually just take one phosphate and then add another one so that we get ATP instead of 2 ATP only. Okay, so that's why it says here ATP is produced through glycolysis and Krebs cycle. We will learn about Krebs cycle soon. Okay, so don't worry, we'll learn this next week. And does not involve ATP synthase enzyme because why? This has to do with oxidative phosphorylation. So this is the last part if you want to oxidize a glucose. So for this one, it's actually about transfer of electron. So this one is directly, right? A phosphate group is directly transferred from ADP to ATP. But this one is a little bit different. Okay, we use actually a transfer of electron. Oxidation reduction kan. Okay, so for this one, ATP is actually used through ETC, electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. So for this one, I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't think you guys can imagine it. But we will learn this after Krebs cycle. This is the last process to oxidize and a glucose. And also, this is where, okay, this is where oxidative phosphorylation actually release a lot of energy. Okay, around 34 ATP. Okay, and the last one, in case keluar your UPS, this is photophosphorylation. Why photo? Because need sunlight. But this one we don't learn in this chapter, we learn in next chapter. Okay, so we have 3 substrate level phosphorylation, oxidative phosphorylation, and photophosphorylation. And this is how it looks like. So this is about substrate level phosphorylation. So we just take one phosphate and add to ADP, then you get ATP. Okay, so this is for substrate level phosphorylation. For oxidative phosphorylation, look at this. So this is what we call as ETC. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 enzyme here, and we have another. The 5th enzyme is called as ATP synthase. Okay, so when they ask you, when is this? Where is this happening? You have to answer. This one, inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, so this one we will learn more in tutorial. Please read beforehand. So the whole thing is called oxidative phosphorylation. But if it includes only one enzyme 1 until enzyme 4, it's called ETC. You have to remember each of these enzyme, what is the name for it? NADH dehydrogenase enzyme 1. Okay, complex 1. Complex 2, succinate dehydrogenase. SIT-C reductase. SIT-C oxidase. ATP synthase for the last one. You have to remember about it. Okay? So, oxidative phosphorylation done. We actually use, okay, our electron carrier. Please remember our electron carrier is NAD plus and FAD. And then, it will form NADH and FADH2. Okay? So, this is the most popular question as well. The last electron acceptor. They will ask, what is the last electron acceptor? Or the final electron acceptor? Please remember it's oxygen. Okay, because we use oxygen. Okay, the presence of oxygen. So we need to recycle it. That's why we're going to pass the baton to the last player, which is oxygen. It's actually the first thing that we use. Okay, so that this will continue in a cycle. Now the oxygen has to help another glucose to be oxidized. And it goes on and on until we die. Okay, can you remember that? Why oxygen is the final electron acceptor? Because this is the last one. Okay? Alright? So, this is why we need ATP. Anabolic reaction. Okay, if you want to build up macromolecule, we need to use ATP. Okay, let's say we want to build a protein for our body. Okay, we want to build muscle kan made up of protein. So need energy, anabolic reaction. From simple substance to complex substance. Okay, even movement, you need energy. That's why if you don't eat much, okay, you don't have energy in class, you'll be like, so sleepy. You don't even want to get up. You just want to sit down and do passive thing. Okay, so movement. The third one, active transport. You guys have learned this from sekolah menengah. Active transport need ATP. Passive transport no need ATP. Okay, and the last one, activation of chemical. So usually, why do we need energy? Okay, because with energy, the chemical will be more reactive. Okay, they can be more sensitive in a way. Okay, so that's why phosphorylation of glucose thanks to ATP. Okay, ATP to ADP. Remember, ATP to ADP, this is the first step. Sorry. This is the first step. ATP to ADP. ATP to ADP. Hexokinase kan? Hexokinase. And then glucose will be converted to G6P. Glucose 6-phosphate thanks to ATP. That's why we need ATP. Okay, we need to invest first. Alright, so this is the aerobic respiration, the complete oxidation of glucose. This is the formula that I have shown you in the first slide. And this is the stage. We have done stage 1. We have done pyruvate oxidation for some of you. And we are going to enter citric acid cycle, or mostly popular known as Krebs cycle. And the last one will be oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, let's take a look from glucose to pyruvate glycolysis. This happened in cytosol. And then it will move to mitochondria. Okay, matrix, mitochondria, pyruvate oxidation. And then it moves again into the, what is this called? Inner membrane mitochondria for Krebs cycle. And then the electron will be carried via NADH and FADH2 for oxidative phosphorylation. From here, we can see 2 ATP produced from Krebs cycle and 34 ATP from oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so this is just a table so that you can see the stage, the location, and whether it needs oxygen or not. Okay, as you know, glycolysis no need oxygen. Okay, that's why glycolysis only gives like 2 ATP, not that much of an ATP compared to oxidative phosphorylation. We have like 34 ATP. Okay, so I think my reminder keeps popping up. I have to go. I have a meeting. So I hope this lecture helps. You may replay this again and again if you need it. So take care guys, and assalamualaikum and goodbye.